Hi, my name is Corinne Bloom, and I'm a life coach and mentor. And today I want to talk about nurturing. So I talk a lot about nurturing in my work, and it's something that I think it's something that is more of a practice rather than just a concept. So hopefully today I'll be able to give you some tools as to how you can start to cultivate nurture. So what I mean by nurture is we all have an innate ability to nurture something. It often, when it comes to ourselves, that's the most difficult. So we might feel an instant ability to nurture a child, or to nurture a puppy or a kitten, or something that you really have an affinity for, that you really care about. There's a natural sense of wanting to nurture and look after and take care of it. And essentially it's really love. But nurture, I would say, is it's moving towards a little bit more of a mothering, tender, looking after, protecting, making sure the environment of whatever you're looking after is well kept and well looked after. So when it comes to ourselves, the challenge is that we can't see the parts of us that are either in pain or afraid. Because what we see when those parts come up is we see that we don't like them. And we see that we don't want them. And we go straight into resistance, or we go into neglect, or we go into denial. And we try to shift and ignore and go into kind of other modes of being able to not look at what's actually really happening. So the act of nurture is to simply be with whatever is here. And again, I know I talk a lot about this as well, but I think it's such an important key to our lives, to living, to being human, because we do experience things, and I think it always comes back to, can it be okay? Can we, whatever we're experiencing, can that be okay? But nurturing is taking it just one step further. So an example that I often use in my workshops is when a child is afraid of the dark. An adult can come into the room and can say, okay, there's no monsters in here. Why are you afraid of the dark? There's no reason to be afraid of the dark. It's okay. Here, let me turn on the light. It's fine. You have nothing to worry about. Hopefully they say it a little bit nicer than that. But we come at it from a very logical perspective. But what we don't often acknowledge is that the experience that the child is having is one of fear. And that's what needs to be looked at. Not the logical or illogical reason as to why the child is experiencing fear. It's just feeling fear. And so that really needs to be tended to. So a way that, I could imagine taking care of that child in that moment is first really holding them, taking them in your arms and going, wow, I understand that you're afraid of the dark. What part of the dark are you afraid of? Become curious, become inquisitive, and allow them to have a voice to be able to express their fear so that they feel safe expressing their fear. And then you might need to actually open the closet with them, or look under the bed, or turn on a light and investigate and really see, well, what's in there that's so scary, and is there anything there? And so you're making the entire process one that is okay, one that is supportive, one that is loving, and you're taking each step hand in hand with this child. So much like that analogy, we have to do that with ourselves, but often what we're doing is we're leaving the child afraid in the dark and telling it to shut up. We're telling it that it's completely stupid that it's afraid of the dark, and it shouldn't be afraid of the dark, and why would it be afraid of the dark, and it should be better, and it should know better, and it should be ashamed that it is even afraid of the dark. That's essentially what we're doing to ourselves. So taking that analogy, or taking an analogy that works for you, how can you look at your own fears, at your own worries, your anxieties, your sadness even, and take that approach of being a really loving, nurturing parent to yourself, because that's ultimately what we need to do. And the parts of us that really get triggered and really get scared are often the little one within us. It's the little girl or little boy within us that got scared at one point in our lives, and we're being triggered, and we're feeling that same fear again. And until we actually go into that part of ourselves and we heal that part of ourselves, we will constantly be triggered. And it may not always be eradicated. A lot of people come in and they say, okay, I want to get rid of this. I don't want to experience this, feeling anymore. I don't want it. Let's get rid of it. and you're guaranteed to never get to heal from it if that's the approach that you take. And again, there's nothing to be ashamed of with that. I think it's a very natural inclination to say, if I don't like it, let's get rid of it. But what I'm looking at is, how do we actually embrace it and incorporate it as a part of who we are, and that part actually needs so much attention and so much love in a really nurturing, tender way. So tune into that analogy when something arises in you, whether it's today or this week or in the future, and just see how you can work with that. How can you be the loving parent to the child that's just a little bit scared within you? So I hope that's been helpful, and I wish you well on your journey.